Good afternoon, Mr. Dosio.
Afternoon, Acting Chief Justice.
Yes, we are just waiting for commissioners who are going to be coming in, and we'll start just now.
No problem, thank you.
Thank you. There are so many. I think, I think commissioners, we must have a rule that those who come late or who leave and they delay us must not ask questions. Yes, yeah.
Must be dropped
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I second the proposal.
I send people to go and fetch them, then they don't come back, so I have to go there myself to fetch them. Hi. Yeah? No, I think let's not leave, because now maybe whoever goes there won't come back too. Hey, what's happening? You can't find them. Yes. I think we'll have to lock the doors. Yeah, look at the chairs. But kuvuliwe nje kodwa. Hey. Yes. Hey. Where are the commissioners? Where is Silo? Silo is supposed to find the commissioners. Yeah, is it only her now? Okay, I think we will start. Okay. Consider locking the doors. Yes, let's start. I've already welcomed you to this session, Mr. Dosio.
You have Acting Chief Justice, but thank you.
Yes. I see that you hold the degrees of BA and LLB, and you've got a higher diploma in taxation law.
That's correct.
Yes, and you got all of these qualifications from the University of the Witwatersrand, is that right?
That's correct.
Yes, and you got them 1988, 1993, and 1994, respectively. Is
yes,
that right?
Yes.
Yes. And you have sat as a district court magistrate, regional court magistrate, criminal regional court regional magistrate, and civil regional magistrate from 2012 to date.
Actually,
the last one.
2000 to 2012 as a criminal regional magistrate in Soweto in a specialized sexual offenders court, basically dealing with gender-based violence issues, and then from 2012 to present in a civil regional court.
Yes. So is the position that you have throughout from 1996 been working as a magistrate at different levels?
That's quite correct, Acting Chief Justice.
Yes. And your exposure to civil work as a magistrate, did you only get that exposure from 2012 when you were civil regional magistrate?
No. When I was a district magistrate, I was already doing civil matters.
Yes.
And then when I became a regional magistrate in 2000, I then requested my regional court president to allow me to go on a fast-tracking civil course, which I did. And then I was seconded to, but there wasn't a civil regional court in those years. We're talking about 2007. So I went back to do 3 months in the Kempton Park Magistrates Court to do civil work only. And
Yes.
and I think that's what prompted me to make these submissions to the Portfolio Committee to expand the Magistrates Act to include for civil jurisdiction in the regional courts. I really wanted to do it.
Yes. Yes. And you have acted in the High Court, is that right?
That's correct.
And for how long or how many times have you acted in the High Court?
I've acted 70 weeks. Of that, 46 weeks were in the civil section and 24 weeks were in the criminal section. I didn't include the times during the recess to do parted matters in the criminal, which are quite big matters, they're bulky matters. But that's the time period, 70 weeks. So it's approximate 17 to 18 months.
And in the High Court, you have sat in the motion court.
Correct.
And how have you found motion court?
Motion court's not difficult for me because every 3 weeks in the civil regional court, we do motion court.
Yes.
So initially in 2013, when I first started, obviously the matters are more complex in the civil regional court, but now I don't have much difficulty anymore because it's very similar. The same principles apply. The rules are just a little bit different as opposed to the magistrates court and the high court rules. But the principles and the way you reason the matters, I find it much easier now than in 2013, let's put it. I've had the experience to have this continual exposure to opposed motions where I am in the civil regional court.
So that's both opposed and unopposed motion.
Correct.
Yes. And have you sat in criminal appeals in the High Court?
Yes, I've sat in 2-bench criminal appeals and full-bench criminal appeals, and
yes.
Civil 2-bench and civil 3-bench
yes.
civil appeals.
And how have you found the work in the High Court?
Look, the work in the High Court is challenging, but it's interesting, and I enjoy it.
Yes. And have you had the chance to write any judgments while you were acting that have been reported?
Well, yes, I have 5 judgments that were reported in the South African criminal law reports. And I just had a look at the General Counsel of the Bar submissions, and I see there's 30 judgments there that have got citations, be it from LexisNexis or JUTA. I don't know if all those are reported, but they're citations.
Yes. So do you have an estimate of how many judgments under civil work that you have done in the High Court, and I'm including trials and motion court judgments? Well,
I've done about 19 opposed motions, I think, about 17 civil trials, 2 full civil bench appeals, 2 special opposed motions. In the criminal, it's about 18 criminal trials. We're around about the region of about 17 criminal appeals and about 2 bail applications. I think that's about in totality. There's 129 judgments, but I think 86 of those which were written, the breakdown is probably more in the civil than in the criminal.
Yes. Judge President Mlambo.
Thank you, Acting Chief Justice. Mr. Dosio, I think the DCJ has taken you through the work allocations that you've done. I think it's what you've told the Commission is in line, roughly, with what we have in your allocations. And you have extended civil law exposure based on you being a district court magistrate, regional magistrate, and acting judge. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Right.
That's correct, JP.
And the first time, or the most times when you've had to deal with work that you don't deal with, that you didn't deal with in the magistrates' courts, is in which areas of the work in the High Court?
It would probably be in the opposed motions.
I see.
District court, regional court, we do a lot of opposed motions.
Yes. Right. And I think the DCJ asked you about how many judgments have been reported. It's difficult to distill that, but how long, what's the average length of the time that you took to deliver your judgments?
Well, JP, some of those very complex, very lengthy criminal trials that lasted for weeks and weeks. You know, I'd hand down judgment the next day and it would be a written judgment of quite a few pages. So those were done very quickly. The opposed motions varied. It would vary from a week to 2 weeks to 3 months. And I've stipulated I had 6 that just went over the 3 months period. There were 3 months and a few days. And then I had the one special opposed motion, which...
Okay. This is the third time you come for an interview, am I correct?
That's correct.
Right. What is it that you think this time should impel us to recommend you for permanent appointment?
I think, JP, I'm bringing a wealth of knowledge from the regional court, especially in the sexual-based cases. I think we have a pandemic in this country with gender-based violence. I think the 12 years that I spent in the courts actually listening and trying to understand child witnesses, adult witnesses, trying to put them at ease, trying not to put them through a secondary trauma of rape when they appear in the court, trying to present papers on the international front and locally how to expedite these matters. You know, you can't wish that away. We have a lot of these matters and serial rapists in the High Court. But in addition to that, I also have a lot of wealth that comes from my experience in the Civil Regional Court, which comes from the pre-trials that we have, where we do try and mediate to try and reach speedy resolutions in civil trials, because we have a little bit of a different approach in the Civil Regional Court as opposed to the High Court, where we are allocated civil trials to actually manage and finish. So the pressure's on us, and we know how to case flow, because if you don't finish those matters, they're still on your roll. They're not part-herds, but you finish it, you take it on, and you finish it as quickly as possible. So I think we're trained to work with case flow management and try and finish matters. We don't need someone to come behind us and check.
Yeah. Okay, 2 more questions, Acting Chief Justice, very short. Your list of judgments suggests you've written 129 judgments.
Correct.
All right. Now, I just wanted that confirmation. But in all your interviews, please correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
This being the third one.
Yes.
Have you had any issues that stood in your way?
JP, not really. The only issue is probably balancing my work in the Civil Regional Court when I leave the High Court to go back, which is a full caseload, which I can't wish away, and basically dealing with the remaining matters if I have any. That's the only challenge I have, but I'm disciplined enough to deal with that and finalize it.
I don't think you understood my question. I'm talking about this being your third time. Have you had any issues that you would regard as having been the impediment to your being recommended for permanent appointment in the last 2 interviews?
That I'm aware of?
Yes.
Well, I don't know what deliberations take place. It's difficult for me to say.
Now I'm talking about the interview like we're sitting here, looking at your work performance and stuff. Can you think of anything? If not, tell us.
Well, I can't think of any reason. I think I'm ready. I think I've got a wealth of experience with 31 years working in these matters. So I can't think of a reason, but if there's one, maybe you can enlighten me and I can deal with it, but I'm not aware of any.
Right. The last question, Acting Chief Justice. You are also one of those magistrates who are not scared to explore. During the height of the pandemic, you sought my permission to use case lines in the magistracy.
Correct. It was quite difficult because they didn't, the attorneys felt they were only to be doing case lines in the High Court.
Yeah.
And I couldn't understand this. So as a result, I had to bring it to your attention. This was going to facilitate and expedite the finalization of my matters.
Yes.
And I had quite a lot of matters where some witnesses had left and have gone overseas. And there's no other way to do it but to do it virtually. So I had to
Did you succeed?
approach you.
Did you succeed?
Yes, I've succeeded, and basically a lot of my matters have been dealt with virtually.
Yeah.
So I have no problem. They do it.
Thank you. Thank you, Acting Chief Justice. No further questions.
Thank you. MEC Lesotho, if you have any questions, please go ahead.
Thanks, Acting CJ. Mr. Dosio has appeared before us before, so I'm fine. I'm okay. Thanks,
Thank you.
Acting CJ. Advocate Alimpofu indicated how to manage this, so I support that. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Dodo, I think you had your hand up.
Yes, thank you very much, Acting CJ. Good afternoon, Mr. Dosio.
Good afternoon, Commissioner.
I want to follow on the question that was asked by the JP regarding the fact that you come here for the third time. I've not understood you clearly about the improvements that you can record and register and say, since the last interview I was here, I have certain improvements that I want to share or certain work that I want to share with the commission to demonstrate that now this time around you are ready and you have the high possibility to be appointed. If you can share that with us, please.
Sure. Mr. Dovo, it's a good question. I haven't acted since the last interview. I've only been appointed to act from yesterday. So there wasn't really anything that that I did from the last interview in the High Court. But all I can say is that possibly it didn't come out in the last interview, but I think I've had quite a lot of experience in the urgent court to date. I was given the opportunity to be the senior judge in the urgent court. That was in the first term. But all I can say since that period to now, I've possibly followed and implemented more the case lines where I'm currently based in the Civil Regional Court.
No, it's okay. I beg your indulgence. Let me just follow up one thing. In what you said last time is the fact that you were involved in some community projects that goes beyond your work as a magistrate in Soweto. Specifically, can you share with us those,
Sure.
please?
Commissioner, thank you. That's a good question. Since the last time that we actually met and spoke, I have actually the MEC Panyaza Lesufi is also aware of this because he was brought into this in 2018 with the South African chapter of the International Association of Women Judges, which I'm the Gauteng provincial coordinator together with Judge Nomsa Kumalo. At the last interview, we had some difficulties to get this project underway, but I can boast now that it's actually happening. We're having our gala performance, which the MEC will be notified, where we're working very closely with the Department of Education to bring about a nationwide exposure of gender-based violence initiatives and how to deal with this so that school children in the secondary schools primarily are going to be made aware of gender-based violence issues and how to deal with this. I think it's going to be a virtual recording done at the Market Theatre, which for 3 years I've really been holding on tight that it actually materializes, and it is materializing. We have all that in place, but I've always been committed in public service from my days in Soweto with the schools in Soweto, with the Jabulani police station. I did a lot of initiatives on the 16th of June, the 24th of September, to highlight a lot of issues to the youth about dealing with drugs and dealing with crime. And that has always continued, and also in the impoverished areas in
It's okay,
Dosio.
it's okay. If you are considered positively, will you continue now as a judge doing similar work? Yes
It's
or no?
most definitely, it's
All right,
part
thank
of
you.
my makeup.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Dr. Commissioner Shaban Ndaro.
Thank you, SCJ. Good afternoon, Mr. Dosio.
Good afternoon, Commissioner Shabangu.
So I think I've got a very short question now because Commissioner there has already taken some of my questions.
May you please speak up a
Oh.
bit?
Sorry. I was saying I'm going to have a short question for you, sir, because Commissioner, they have asked some of the questions that I wanted to ask you. I saw on your CV, and you also confirmed here that you, while you were a magistrate, you were very much involved on sexual offenses and domestic violence cases.
Correct.
Can you share with us with regard to the sexual offenses cases which are taking longer than expected to be finalized? And also to share with us, I know members of the public are watching, and there's a concern out there that the perpetrators are getting bail. Can you also share that one as to why members are getting bail, so that the members, the community can also understand why the bail are offered to the perpetrators? And is there a way that we can assist in dealing with this problem? Thank you.
Thank you for that question. Most definitely, I think there are quite a few ways to deal with that. I think that with gender-based violence, we've got a big problem in the country. And I think that possibly the minimum prescribed sentence should possibly be looked at to maybe include the issue of not only life imprisonment for matters of children below the age of 16 or people who are raped more than once. It should actually include also gender-based violence matters. But I think the issue of the finalization rate of these matters, I've expressed it before that we do not have a continuous role in the regional courts. As a result, children, when they come to testify, they get exhausted and they're tired. We can only really start these matters after postponements are dealt with in the court for that specific day. So we only start hearing these matters around about 10 o'clock. And by the time the child is testifying, they're exhausted. So it needs to be postponed. And because we don't have a continuous role in the regional court, it means that it will be postponed for a few weeks when that attorney or advocate is available. If we had a continuous role, it would definitely serve to curtail this impediment to finalize matters quickly. Regarding bail, I just think that there should be more stringent dealing with the particular issues that surround the particular case and the facts. If it's exceptional circumstances that need to be proven, then the state must definitely persist with this and not just let it slide. I think that would help to prevent people getting off on bail easily.
Thank you, Mr. Dosio. Thank you, SCJ.
Thank you, Commissioner. Let me go to commissioners who are on the virtual platform. Is there anyone who has a question among the commissioners on the virtual platform? There is no one has a question. There are no further questions. I think we have reached the end of this interview. Thank you very much, Mr. Dosio, for
Thank you,
availing
Acting Chief
yourself.
Justice. Thank you,
We
Commissioners.
appreciate it. You are now excused.
Have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.